Welcome to the first of 10 videos, one for each of the 10 F1 car liveries that we'll be releasing over the coming weeks. Haas kicked things off yesterday with their 2023 title challenger. Okay, challenger might be a bit optimistic. So I'll be starting to look in that, breaking down my thoughts and feelings. And then I've had a go myself. Put my money where my mouth is. Redesigned what I would do with this Haas 2023. Be sure to let me know what you think in the comments below and use the pinned comment to vote whether you prefer the real thing or mine. Come on then, let's have a look at this Haas. Now I've had time to sleep on it. I did my live stream yesterday. I was very much in two minds when I first saw this. I like the base colours. I like the balance of black to white to red. I like that kind of black and the white have very similar standing. Even though obviously from a side profile you don't see much white, but then from a front profile you don't see much black. I'm cool with that. Again, 2019 Renault kind of vibes I get with that. Also, they stole the Renault font for the numbers. I don't know if you noticed. When you look at the front view, actually, you could be forgiven for mistaking this for last year's livery. It doesn't look that different, bang, front on. When you come to the side, that's where it's all changed. And I guess the thing is, from the side, I maintain that it's still just quite fiddly. There's a lot of little kind of swooshes and little lines and bits that I don't know if they really add enough to it, and they just look like design for design's sake, especially where they've kind of hatched that line towards the back. If they just made that a solid one, which I can show you here in Photoshop, for me that alone just makes it a bit better, a bit cleaner. That's just an unnecessary introduction to the livery as far as I'm concerned. Also, the MoneyGram logo on the side, I'm surprised it wasn't bigger. The icon's massive, but the problem is, right, there's a reason so many car manufacturers have changed from having their icon on the back of their cars to having their brand name put on the back, like Lexus, like Skoda now. Ultimately, an icon's no good if you don't know what name is attached to that icon, so I think MoneyGram should have just slapped their logo big on the side. So obviously in my redesign, the MoneyGram on the side is going to be a lot bigger. Also, it's interesting that Haas lost quite a few sponsors. You had one-on-one Under Armour, who with Mick last year, they lost a bunch of others as well. However, they are at the cost cap apparently because of MoneyGram. So MoneyGram have clearly covered most of it because there aren't that many other sponsor logos on this car. Look, it is a billboard ultimately, and any free space might make, you know, potential sponsors think, oh, I can picture my logo going there maybe. Overall, this is a solid livery. I don't love it. I definitely don't hate it. I'm probably slightly more positive than I am negative about it, but it's not blowing my mind. However, I'm glad they have tried something different. They've pushed the boat out a bit with this. But of course, these are only renders. We've not seen it on the actual 2023 Haas. So when we see it in situ, in person, kind of like the Williams last year, didn't like the renders for the Williams really at all, but on the car, it was better, certainly. So we'll see whether the Haas goes up or down in my standings. Okay, enough of the old, now for the new. What if I was let loose on the 2023 Haas? Well, this is my design. This is kind of a marriage of the old and new, right? So I said the new real Haas looks like the old Haas from front on. Well, the base design to this is more similar to the old Haas. However, I very much embraced the black, kind of done a colour swap for the base of it. And it's come out with very, you know, Dale Earnhardt vibes 100% here with this one. Yes, it's white, not grey, but it still looks very similar. When I was putting it together, that wasn't intentional, but it ended up when I shared my little teaser of this on Twitter, the comments were awash with it, and fair enough, it is very similar to that, to be fair. In terms of logo placement, I guess we'll start with MoneyGram. You can see the MoneyGram text is a lot bigger. I've kept the icon big, not quite as big as on the real car, but still pretty big. But MoneyGram needs to be front and centre. They're clearly throwing a lot of money at this project. Make their logo bigger. Make the MoneyGram part of their logo bigger. We've got the classic swoosh with a lot of red in kind of the bottom. The Haas logo, I've kind of reversed the colours from what they had last year just to kind of fit with the red Haas and the white outline. Come down to the front wing and I've got Haas and MoneyGram on it instead of just MoneyGram. I get what they're trying to do with just putting money and gram on the front wing on either side, but I don't think it's that legible. I don't think it's as legible as having just the full logo on a nice smooth surface. So they're still there, but they're also on the rear wing. So instead of just Haas on the rear wing, and just MoneyGram on the front. We've got kind of MoneyGram on both and then Haas on the front wing a little bit. I just think this balances up a little bit nicer. I also moved the Haas tooling logo up above the MoneyGram logo because, I don't know, I just felt like that was a good space for it. This is kind of Gene Haas's big part of the business. The fact that Haas, it's interesting actually, because not many teams have their actual team name big emblazoned on the side. I was interested to see this season whether they would have just owned MoneyGram and dropped Haas back, but because Gene Haas owns Haas CNC, Haas Tooling, there is value in that. It's like if McLaren had the word McLaren on the side of the car, Ferrari had Ferrari on the side of the car. That doesn't happen, but with Haas it does. Not much more to say otherwise. I've kind of kept it fairly simple, not tried to go overboard with the logos because they haven't on the real thing, and I want to try and make this as, you know, realistic an example of this car, of what it could have potentially been. But again, let me know in the comments what you think. Don't forget to vote in the pinned comment as well, whether you prefer mine or the real life thing. I do think mine's better, and I'm clearly not biased. So there you go. That's 1 down, 9 to go. Don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel. I'm going to be a very, very busy boy this month. My name's Tommo. Thanks again. Have a good one. Ta-da.